Hi there, welcome to my channel. I just wanted to pop on real quick and say hi. I hardly ever show my face on my videos, and some of my friends and family have pointed this out to me. So I thought I would hop on. Why today of all days? I don't know, because look at me. I have bags under my eyes. I have a sunburn. It's just been one of those days. I had grandkids over this weekend and very little sleep and a whole lot of activity. So today I did football games and we did a whole lot of outside stuff. I hung out with some of my older grown kids and had lunch with them. That was nice. Just a lot going on, a lot of obligations. Grandparenting is just as busy as parenting sometimes. But I just wanted to pop on today and show you some of the meals that I made for my family this week. We are on a self-inflicted budget, I guess you would say. We are kind of adjusting to our new income, I guess. I'm working part-time, and that has been something that has been kind of a struggle for me. I'm kind of used to working a lot, and so I'm just dealing with that and kind of taking it as this is how things are supposed to be right now, and maybe I'll like it and want to give it a try. We also just paid off some debt, and so, you know, it takes time to build back your savings after you pay off debt sometimes. And then I just recently did a pantry challenge where I used up a lot of the older foods that were in our pantry. Some of that stuff had been around since COVID began, and I just wanted to get it used up so that I could build my pantry back up and have my stockpile be foods that are going to stay fresher longer. So anyway, that's all I have for this week, is just some good old run-of-the-mill, everyday people types of foods. So I hope you enjoy it.
Gonna stay in this moment, gonna lay here on the grass. I don't need to feel lonely, I am finally home at last. And I don't mind being gone on adventures for a while. No, no, 'cause the best thing about it is I know I'm coming back. Oh, oh. Of all the magic places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, you know it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you. Been walking down the street so many times, my feet know every brick and stone. Could wear a blindfold. No matter what I do, I'm coming home to you.
For our first meal of the week, I'm making chimichangas, and all I'm doing to make these is just putting some taco meat and some refried beans inside tortillas with some cheese, and then dropping them seam side down into a frying pan. I cook them seam side down to get a good seal on it so all of the insides don't come out while I'm cooking, and I just keep an eye on them until they're golden brown and then turn them from side to side. On this night, we had 5 or 6 people over for dinner, including our older son, who comes home once a week and does his laundry and has dinner at our house. I am cutting up some tomatoes that we got out of the garden to go with these chimichangas on the side, and I'm making some avocado. I like just plain avocado. I don't care for guacamole for some reason. I don't know why. And then pretty much nobody else likes avocado. So this is pretty much just for me. And I'm fine with that. So all I did was dice them up and then scoop them out of the peel. And then put them on the cutting board. I also chopped up some onions and jalapeno. The jalapeno also came from our garden. So, what a blessing it is to have some fresh produce coming from our own garden this year. This was a good way to use up some of those tomatoes that we have from the garden. We seem to have them coming out of our ears right now, and I jokingly said that we would be having tomatoes with every meal from now until they're gone, but it looks like it's actually going to happen that way. This was also a good way to use up those half-used bags of tortillas that seem to collect in the drawer in the refrigerator, and the partial bags of cheese that seem to just kind of sit around when you make tacos on other nights and you just have leftovers. So it was a good way to use that up and save money and not go out and buy more. And here's my plate with the sliced tomatoes, the avocado, some sour cream, and some salsa for dipping. It was so good. Such a delicious and fresh tasting meal. The next day I had to work, so this is actually in the morning, and I had to work 11 to 8, so I made dinner ahead of time so that the guys could just warm it up, and I planned on having this meal later in the week, but decided that it's such an easy meal for them to reheat and have for dinner that I would just make it today. And so I just cooked up some ground beef and then used the paper towel trick to drain the grease out of it. I also boiled up a box of penne pasta. Once my ground beef was all drained, I added a can of diced tomatoes with peppers, onions, and garlic, and just stirred that all in. Added some salt and pepper to make sure that it was seasoned well, because I didn't do this during the cooking process. And you know, I like my black pepper, so we're gonna put a lot on there. And when I was shopping, I picked up 4 cans of this Hunt's spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce, and I like to get these to keep on hand because they're so budget friendly. They only cost, like, I think less than $1, and if you season them up and whatever, they're a wonderful base. I did get the garlic and herb kind because I feel like they have the best flavor, and I added some Italian seasoning to that. So along with those diced tomatoes and the seasoning and the salt and pepper, I feel like this brand of spaghetti sauce tastes just as good as any of the other more expensive kinds when you get done putting all of your finishing touches on it. And when my pasta was done, I just scooped it out with this spider utensil. I think someone told me it was a spider. So I like to use that instead of getting the big drainer out and draining my pasta. This is an easy way if I'm just transferring it into another pan like this meal is. So just give it all a stir and let it simmer so that that pasta can finish cooking, and put a lid on it. And once I get it cooled down, I will just pop it into the fridge so that later my husband can take it out and put it back on the stove and heat it back up again. And I did decide to have this for breakfast, although it is a dinner. I won't be home for dinner. So this is just a little Parmesan cheese. Okay, just a little more. A little more. That's good. So that was dinner this day. On Wednesday, we had some chili dogs, and my husband had some Red Hots. We used this Wolf brand chili. It wasn't bad. It wasn't as good as Hormel, but it's what the store near our house had. And we had the potato salad that I prepped in my last video with these chili dogs and some pickles on the side. Usually by Wednesday, I am pretty whooped. What day of the week is your most challenging? Let me know. So if you haven't figured it out, I am sometimes just a hot mess. Like, look at that. Anyway, what was that? It was either garlic or onion powder. I don't know. But, yeah, so I've added garlic and onion powder to 2 pounds of ground beef and a whole lot of one or the other. I'm not sure which one it was. But it worked out fine. It didn't ruin the way it tasted or anything. But I'm also going to throw in some salt and some pepper. And by the way, we had made it till Friday, if you can't tell, but we made a really quick and easy, yeah, that's the word, easy, quick and easy meal. I wanted nachos. Bill and Cameron wanted taco salad, so I made a small pan of nachos for those of us who wanted to have those, and then left some of the meat and the shredded lettuce and stuff sitting out so that they could make taco salad if they wanted to. Here's my diced tomatoes and sliced olives and onions. Again, more tomatoes from the garden. So like I said, I'm gonna use those up. And I'm just putting a layer of chips down on my pan that goes into my air fryer. And then I'm gonna top it with some of that taco meat. And on this night we had, who was over? Oh, we had 2 grandbabies and our grown son over for dinner. And so everybody had what they wanted on their plates, and we had a choice of nachos or taco salad. It just worked out. After I did the layer of meat, I then put a layer of cheese on top of that, and then another layer of the tortilla chips. These are the Cantalina brand, I believe, or style. I don't know, on the border. That's the brand. There we go. So I'm going to repeat that layering process with more meat and more cheese. Now, if I didn't have the grandbabies over, I probably would have threw some onions in there too. But since they were over for the night, I just kept it pretty simple on half of them. I just added some onions to one corner of these nachos. And then threw some of the black olives just on half, because people pretty much like those in this house. At least I thought they did. And here's the nachos after they came out of the air fryer, all nice and toasty, and the melty cheese. And I just added some tomatoes and some sour cream to mine. I did add some Red Hot to them also, but I didn't show that part. I do like to have a little bit of hot sauce or something on there. This is the kids' plates. They just had some sliced up bananas and some of those diced tomatoes with theirs. And for our last meal of the week, I tried to make smash burgers. And to do this, I was just trying to make them as flat as I possibly could, using a piece of wax paper and a big heavy bowl to flatten them down. We were at the grandson's football games, and I could smell burgers cooking at the concession stand, and it was just in my mind the whole time that I was sitting there watching the game that I wanted burgers, and I wanted good burgers like Five Guys. So I wanted to get these burgers really, really thin, and somehow they puffed back up a little bit. I'm not sure how that happened, but I don't know, maybe in the shrinkage. And I just want to mention that this ground beef is supposed to be very lean, and it obviously isn't. I mean, I won't complain, because the secret to a good burger is to have a higher fat content, because that's where all the flavor is. And all I'm doing for these is putting some garlic powder, some salt and pepper on them. That's all I ever put on my hamburgers, and they always taste so good. And as always, this is the first time that I made these really thin hamburger patties, and I learned what to do the next time. So what I didn't achieve this time, I will the next. And if I had planned a little better in, you know, how to make them, like in the method that I was using, then I think that I would have been able to get them cooked all in a more uniform manner. Also, this griddle, I'm not sure what the deal is. It kind of heats unevenly, and I couldn't remember. I haven't used it in so long. I couldn't remember where the hot spots were. I had some buns in the freezer, and so I wanted to thaw them out really quick. So I was moving the burgers around as they were cooking and then making room for these buns to kind of toast up on the griddle and thaw out. And I'm just kind of flipping, and it kind of goes against what my hamburger rule is that you don't touch them and you don't flatten them, but the goal was to get a really flat hamburger patty. So it's breaking my own rules. And once I got all the burgers turned over, I just gave them all a little bit more black pepper. I really like black pepper on everything I eat, it seems. So with all the seasoning that I put on the other side, I didn't feel like I needed to do too much more seasoning, and I just put a little pepper. And then I'm putting a slice of cheese on each patty, except for the two that are for Cameron, because he does not like cheese on his hamburgers. Then I'm stacking them up because we are doing a double cheeseburger. And like I said, if I had planned it out right and wasn't in a hurry and had more time to think about what my strategy was in making these burgers, then I probably would have been a little more successful, and they would have cooked at the same time. And I'm just getting this grease and drippings off of the griddle so they don't get into the hamburger buns, because you don't want a soggy, yucky, bloody hamburger bun, of course. And anyway, just moving them around and waiting for the remaining 4 burgers to cook up. And these buns were just a pack of the 88-cent Walmart brand hamburger buns. I just threw them in the freezer a while back just to have on hand if I decided on a whim that I needed them for something. And today was that day. And they actually were really good toasted up like this. And once they're all thawed out and have a good little grill on the edges, the inside edges, I just take them off and set them to the side. And I think when I make these again that I will just use a little less of the ground beef in my patties and flatten them a little flatter. I was just trying to make them a little bit on the bigger side so that when they shrunk down they would still fit the bun, but I could have made them a little smaller. And I would also just on mine maybe add 1 piece of cheese in between the burgers. And these burgers were so good, I actually could have eaten them plain. And Cameron actually did eat his like that, and he said that they were good and crispy, and he didn't think that he liked condiments anymore, but he's a funny kid. So I am getting Bill's hamburger ready. He had to go to work for 3rd shift on this night, and so he was showering, and I was getting his plate ready so that he could eat before he left. He had to be to work at 7, and so this is just me assembling his burger. And I just put the burger patties and the mayo on each side of the bun, and then just put his onions and his tomatoes of course, on the side so he could put them on when he was ready to eat. And then we just had Kraft macaroni and cheese with this, and these were really tasty. Such an easy and affordable meal. And just perfect for this time of year, I have to say. And that's it for this week's What's for Dinner. Thank you so much for coming by and watching my video. And if you would like to see more, please hit the subscribe button. Bye for now.